3. Tom was expected to arrive in the early afternoon. Both Maggie and Mrs. Tulliver waited with fluttering hearts. At last they heard the sound of the wagon and rushed outside. Mrs. Tulliver stood with her arms open, while Maggie jumped up and down. Tom stepped down from the wagon and allowed himself to be kissed and hugged by both. He was one of those typical 12 or 13-year-old English boys, with the blandness of light brown hair and rosy cheeks that made it difficult to see his true character. "Maggie," Tom said to his sister once they were inside and their mother was busy with his boxes, "can you guess what's in my pockets?" He put his hand inside them with an air of mystery. "Oh, show me, I can't bear to guess," said Maggie. "It's 2 new fishing lines, and hooks as well. Tomorrow we can go fishing by the round pool. You can put worms on yourself and catch your own fish. Won't that be fun?" Maggie answered by throwing her arms around his neck. "I do love you, Tom," she said. Tom looked down at the fishing gear and paused before he spoke again. "You know, the fellows at school fought me over the money. I gave one a black eye." "How brave you are, Tom. I think if a lion came roaring at me, you would fight him." "How can a lion come roaring at you, silly? Lions only exist in shows." "I meant if we went to the lion countries, I mean Africa. If we went fishing there, a lion might come roaring at us. What would you do, Tom?" "But a lion isn't coming, so what's the use of talking about it?" said Tom. "You are so silly, Maggie. Now, let me go and see my rabbits." Maggie's heart fluttered with fear because they were dead. Tom wanted Maggie to look after them while he was away. However, Maggie forgot all about them. She was afraid to tell Tom the truth, so she followed him outside in silence. "Tom," she said finally as they were walking, "I have some money upstairs in my purse. I can give you what you paid for the rabbits." "What for? I don't want your money." "I have more money than you anyway, because I'm a boy." "You can use it to buy more rabbits." "Why? I don't want any more." "Oh, but Tom, they're all dead." Tom stopped immediately and turned toward Maggie. "You and Harry both forgot to feed them. I will have Harry fired, and I don't love you, Maggie. I'm not taking you to fishing tomorrow." He turned and walked on. "You're a naughty girl, and I'm sorry I bought you the fishing gear. I don't love you." "Don't be so cruel, Tom," sobbed Maggie. "I'd forgive you if you forgot anything. Please forgive me. My heart will break." "Aren't I a good brother to you? Didn't I fight off those boys so I could buy you the fishing gear? And this is what you do. You're naughty." With this, Tom ran off toward the mill to complain to Luke about Harry. Maggie turned around and ran back to the house and into her attic, where she laid on the floor in misery. She thought she would be so happy when Tom came home, but she was miserable. She knew she was naughty to her mother, but she was never naughty to Tom. She stayed in the attic for what felt like hours and became convinced that they were having dinner without her. Well, she would stay up here and starve, she thought. Then they would be sorry. She was determined to stay until Tom came looking for her. But after 5 minutes the need for love became too strong, and she crept to the stairs. Mr. and Mrs. Tulliver were at that moment wondering where Maggie was. Tom, in his anger, had hardly given her a thought. "It's been 2 hours. Weren't you two playing together all this time?" said Mr. Tulliver. "No, I haven't seen her," said Tom. "Goodness, I'm sure she's drowned," exclaimed Mrs. Tulliver. "I'm sure she's not drowned," said Mr. Tulliver sharply. "You've been naughty to her, haven't you, Tom? Now, go and find her. She's probably in the attic. And be good to her, or else." Tom never disobeyed his father, so he went, although he didn't plan to forgive Maggie. She was just then on the stairs. When she heard Tom, her heart began to beat violently with hope. She rushed